All right, we got local fast guy, or one of the fastest guys in the South here, Pat Rossiter. And we're gonna go and talk about his radio and his techno and sponsors and just what he's got going on. Okay, first off, I see J Concept on your shirt there. What's your other sponsors there?
All right, put these guys down real quick.
Yeah.
My other sponsors.
Yep.
I'd like to thank.
Now you know you're fast when you gotta pull out a list.
Well, you know, I want to make sure I got everybody. Because,
okay.
I mean, they're, you know, I have high-end companies that help me, and then I have, you know, small business companies that really help me.
Right,
so,
right.
First off, Techno RC.
Yep.
Team Trinity, J Concepts. I'm finishing out the 2019 year with Hobby Wing. Futaba USA, BeachRC.com, Nitro Pro Fuel, Boom RC Graphics, Jared Tebow Products, Easy Customs, and Oh Yes Daddy Racing.
Okay.
And this paint job in particular, this is from Cupcake Customs.
Okay.
So I'll be starting 2020 with Easy Customs. Because my friend Wesley, who's been painting my bodies, he's in school full time and he just doesn't have the time to paint anymore. And he was really going out of his way to help me. So
that's all right.
Yeah.
I see the Futaba radio.
Yes.
Everybody's switching over to this radio.
Yes.
You see Spencer is, you know, really pushing it. You see Dustin Evans pushing it. And you switched radio brands before they did.
Correct. Correct.
So why did you go to Futaba?
Well, I was originally on the High-Tech Lynx 4S, and I still consider that the best baller on the budget radio. But for those who really want to step up their game, you can't go wrong with the Futaba, especially the latest model, which is the 7PX. They do have a newer model coming out, the 7PX Type R, which will be out sometime in 2020, hopefully in the next month or two. And the really great thing about this radio is that it's very user-friendly. It has a touchscreen. I'll power it up for you guys. Pardon my fingerprints. But it is touchscreen. It's color display, as you can see. You can program the buttons to do different stuff. If I hold down the home button, it'll take me directly to my different models.
Wow.
Okay.
That's all right.
Yeah. And like I said, it's touchscreen. So say user menu, I go right there. My endpoints, if I want to change my brake a little bit, plus and minus, right there. And it's just very user-friendly.
Wow.
Yeah, and especially if you guys notice, it's set up kind of differently because, yes, I am left-handed.
Yeah.
Because I was toilet trained the wrong way.
Right.
So it is left-handed friendly. And, you know, originally comes like this.
Right.
And it's very simple to change everything over. And
did you add anything to the radio, or is it straight out of the box?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got the Dirt Tech foam grip by J Concepts.
Okay.
The battery is the ProTech Life 2100, to which, you know, I say a Life is basically a diet lipo.
Right.
And then the wrap is actually done by Dutch Oven Design.
Which I like the wrap.
Which, unfortunately, they are stepping out of the sticker and decal business.
Oh, wow.
They're having to cut back.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else? Let's see.
Oh, let's see. Well, it comes actually with different trigger mounts. Like if you see that little screw right there, you can actually change this brake lever to allow for fatter fingers or skinnier fingers.
Okay.
They also have different size wheels that come with it. This is the smaller one, so if you got like these, you know, big hands that you can grip that, or if you got like, you know, my hands, which are tiny but still get the job done.
Right.
You know, I prefer the smaller wheel, so I don't have to, you know, reach as far and get a cramp.
All right.
So yeah.
Gonna move on.
Oh yeah, and then this is optional. This is the antenna. You just kind of move in and out. And then if you look actually in here, I can get my finger in there. Yeah, I can't really open it. Hold on, I'm gonna get it. Come here.
That's cool.
But anyway, if you open this slot, sometime before Christmas, if you open it, it's cold outside.
Right.
Hold on, I'm gonna use my body clip.
There you go.
Well, maybe I can. Come here. Hey, there we go. There is actually an SD card slot. You can actually load different models of different cars in there, among other stuff.
That is cool.
So it's really, really, like I said, user-friendly. And the best thing about it is where I live, Futaba USA is actually based in Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, really?
So it's really close by. If I order anything,
right,
it'll be at my doorstep in like 3 days, roughly, because I think it's the team gets ground shipping via FedEx.
Okay.
So everything else, but yeah, the contact for Futaba, his name is Bobby Smith, Bobby Bizob Smith, and he's in Huntsville.
Cool. All right, let's move on to this techno here. You said it's the Freshie kit?
This is the brand new Eb410.2.
Okay.
And this is actually my very first weekend with it.
Uh-huh.
And, the subtle changes, which I consider subtle changes, but the changes that they have made to it make a big difference as far as performance. So this is the J Concepts F2 body that I've got on it, so I'm going to remove this real quick. And going directly to the rear end, you guys can already tell that the camber block is different now, because instead it had that bracket that bolted to the front now, but now they actually have an actual block to where the turnbuckle actually goes on to.
Right.
The rear arms have been redesigned to where it automatically accepts shocks forward, because initially what we had to do was change the arms around, and that defeated the purpose of the droop screws. Okay. So now these arms have been redesigned to where the droop screws are relevant again, and we can still run shots forward.
Okay.
The toe block pills are gray now instead of black, and that's because the hinge pins are thicker.
Okay.
So they made the hinge pins thicker, which initially changed the pills. Okay. Now if you peek in
so you
there,
can't run the old pills.
No, because the hinge pins on that one are thinner.
Okay.
So they won't work. If you look in the rear wheel there, you can barely tell the rear hubs have been redesigned to where you can actually change the hub height, and there's more options as far as the ball stud for the camber adjustments on there too. The wing mount obviously has been redesigned to where it's one solid piece and much, much beefier. And it actually reminds me of the new Eb410.2. Because it's just a smaller down version of that one. And then obviously the sway bar mount is actually made by Techno now. We don't have to buy either the Exotech one or the 3D printed part from Shapeways to make that happen.
All right.
So it's really nice. Moving toward the center, everything's pretty much condition normal. I have the Raceform radio tray, which is very handy because it has a plate to where you can not only mount the ESC on it, but the receiver and the wiring job from Heck is contained. And then really under there's a little tray for the personal transponder right directly underneath the outdrive, and that is also on the plate. So it's very easy to just remove the electronics without having to, pry anything up. I use the Hobby Wing XR10 stock spec, the little Pee-wee Speedo, with the Trinity RevTech X Factor 13.5.
How you like that Trinity?
Oh, I love it.
There you go.
Love it. And then my gearing, I use... Techno offers two different spur gears. They offer a 70 tooth and an 81 tooth. And what I've got is the Exotech 72 on there. So it gives me a little bit more of a tuning option, as well as the center diff cup that Exotech makes actually seals the center diff, and I can still change the spur gear without having to rebuild the diff at the same time.
Are you sponsored by Exotech?
No, I'm not.
So this is what you pay for out of your own?
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. And I for the stock guys, I believe it is worth it. Because it's just more gearing options. The fan is the Yeah Racing Tornado, which I'm going to soon be going to the Assault RC, which is provided here by Beach Hobbies. I always recommend, whether it be for the 2-wheel drives or the 4-wheel drives, or even the fans that go on the 8-scale ESCs. They are the exact same size. I highly recommend using an aluminum case fan. The plastic ones are they just can't handle the blunt force trauma. They really can't. The steering rack, I'm using the Trinity bell crank system. I use the bell crank arms. The Ackerman is actually the aluminum Techno one, because at the time I got this car, I didn't have the whole Trinity kit. I just had these arms lying around, so I just got the Techno aluminum one when I ordered the car. But it's the same purpose. I really prefer the aluminum bell crank system on this car, simply because over time, and with any car, the plastics, when they get hot, they get really, really soft. And so during a race, with the bell crank getting soft, your EPA can actually change in the middle of the race. So you'll actually lose steering in the middle of the race if that plastic gets hot enough. So that's just something to ponder depending on the brand of car that you race. Other like little knickknacks here. The screw kit that I have on here is actually made by T-Works.
Okay.
And I really like the design of the screws too.
Are you sponsored by T-Works?
No, but a friend of mine is, and
okay.
you know, he talked to one of the guys overseas and helped me out. So he actually got me this, and it was well worth it. My actual .1 actually has the Protect screw kit, which it's a lightning screw kit as well, but the design of these is just really, really cool.
Yeah.
It really stands out.
Yeah, I
which
like
I really
that.
like. Yeah. And then I use the Trinity center diff mount. Again, that's just for reassurance purposes. The stock Techno one is plastic, and again, with the heat, it can flex over time, and I just like that extra rigidity, so I know that the center diff isn't going anywhere.
All right.
And then as we come to the front end, the differences that you will see are the ball studs have been redesigned to where they actually have more of a cone-like feature rather than just a ball on a flat washer, so it raises it a little bit. It comes stock with the upgraded shock standoffs that come with the clip-in bushing rather than just the ball that it sits in, so it doesn't wear out nearly as fast as the old one does.
Right.
And another feature is the new 15-degree caster blocks, which allow for more steering.
Okay. Okay.
And also another thing that you'll see is that where's my front sway bar? I took it off because Brent's track it's very high speed and it has lots of 90s and 180s, and I needed the steering, so I'm used to not racing with a front sway bar, so I might as well keep up the tradition and not have it on there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Tires.
Tires, I just got done mounting up. Yeah, and these are brand new, believe it or not. This is what we're having to do. These are silver J-Concepts ellipses.
Okay.
And we're running silver because, you know, the wintertime, obviously, it's colder.
Right.
And with this layout being somewhat fresh, there's a lot of moisture in the ground. So even though we have a lot of, I mean, it's very blue-grooved and very hard-packed, the ground itself is really, really soft. So running a gold compound, it had traction, but it would gain even more as the tires heated up.
Okay.
So, you know, I would actually have to wait on the car to actually gain traction mode of the race, to which with the silvers, I believe that the traction is going to be there first and foremost. The only thing I'm going to have to work on is it's going to have even more traction as the tires heat up. But I'd rather have too much than not enough.
So the silver compound compared to...
The gold is more of a soft indoor. These are a super soft indoor. So these are actually softer than the gold.
Okay.
And then I don't know if any of the guys in there are running the new aqua compound. And, you know, I try and describe it as like a silver long wear, but everybody says the silver is just a silver. It's its own compound. To me, I've had a set of silvers, and it's not so much the, you know, the feel, the texture of it, of like being soft and hard. The tire just feels more full. Okay. Like it's just denser with the rubber. So it's just one of those things, you have to have one in order to understand what it is.
Okay. Okay.
And
shock oils and pistons.
Okay, so the pistons are stock.
Okay.
It now comes with 8-hole 1.2s for the front, 8-hole 1.3s for the rear. Okay. For the front, I'm running 600 weight JTP with orange springs. For the rear, I'm running 550 JTP CST with green springs. And I'm pretty much mimicking my setup from the .1 minus a few changes. And my .1 setup is loosely based off of Tebow's Reedy winning setup with his .1.
Okay, okay.
And it seems to work here at Brent's.
Okay, okay. Oh, does the kit come with carbon fiber shock tires, or is that?
No, that is an add-on. It actually comes with very, very thick plastic shock towers, but just for the rigidity factor. And again, with it being cold, I prefer the carbon fiber towers. And actually on the .2, again, going back to the new camber block, you can actually use the standard carbon fiber tower. You do not need to get the one that has the camber link mounts on it, because with this bracket, it's not needed. So you can use the standard carbon fiber rear tower on it. And then I also use the JC center top plate just for rigidity, and then the Techno carbon fiber top plate for rigidity as well.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
Servos?
Servo, I have the Futaba 9570 SV Shorty.
Okay.
Now, as you see, I've got a little bit of weight on there too.
Right.
And this is actually part of the low-C weight system they actually borrowed from a racer and haven't seen him in 2 years to give it back to him. But this is basically 10 grams. And I've been talking all weekend with my teammate, Elliot Watson. And what he says is to actually increase steering on this car, and he runs on turf mostly.
Right.
He prefers to run a full-size servo because a full-size servo actually weighs more.
Right.
But me personally, I like the low-profile servos simply because the body just fits a lot more flush, and there's not as much risk of scuffing it up. So just to counteract it, this is 10 grams on the front of the servo, and it definitely helps plant the front end more to set up for the turn.
Another thing, the Trinity batteries. How you like those?
Oh, I love them. I absolutely love them. This is the 5000 white carbon turf edition, and it gives me plenty of punch, plenty of milliamp, no worries. This car is constantly clearing the triple.
Okay.
Now, one thing I will say, this car has the stock bearings in it.
Okay.
Versus my .1 that actually has the Trinity ceramics that I put in there. So my .1 can actually clear the triple more consistently because with the ceramic bearings it has less drag. But again, even with the stock bearings that come with this car, I still have plenty of power to clear the triple, maybe just not as often anymore.
Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Anything else you?
Other than that, you know, the .2, like I said, the changes that they made to the car, as subtle as they may seem to some, it definitely makes a difference. Like I said, with the thicker pills and the thicker hinge pins, the different rear hubs, the forward shock ready rear arms. You know, it really makes a difference. Oh, the 15-degree caster blocks.
Yep.
I mean, it definitely makes. And I think they're 15-degree. I just know that they're more degree than the original ones.
All right. I got one final question.
Yes.
Where's your dad at?
He's at home. He is not a fan of 10 scale anymore. Honestly, he got his fix last weekend at Fall Brawl. He ran 40+ nitro and open nitro, and he got his fix. And yeah, he decided to stay home and do some Christmas stuff. So. But yeah, he races 10 scale every now and then, but you know, he's still getting used to the bar tire concept. He's still got some step pins and IFMAR studs lying around. And he just doesn't have any use for them anymore because this bar tire stuff, he's just not feeling it. He's not feeling it. He treats 10 scale indoor now as a very rough touring car track.
Oh wow!
And he's just not feeling it. He ain't feeling it.
Well. Maybe we'll see him at some more races? Or?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to try and drag him out. I think the next big race that he's going to do is probably going to be the SIC, which will be in West Montgomery in January. But as far as here, he can't come to the Palmetto Classic because he's very in deep with the St. Patrick's Day Parade Committee in Savannah. So, I mean, that's, you know, everybody's Irish there.
Right.
Okay, so he has to, you know, he gets his golf cart and does what I call old people stuff.
Right.
So, but yeah, I try to drag him up to Brents. He definitely makes Masters every year, or at least tries to.
There you go.
But yeah, he's mainly an 8-scale guy. I try and hold down the baby buggy for the family.
There you go. Well, Pat, thank you. Anybody like to thank that we forgot?
Again, my sponsors, you know, coming out of 2019, going into 2020, the new ones I'm picking up, all my friends that have been there for me, especially this weekend, like my buddy Wesley Dean. We rode up together, you know. Without him, this weekend wouldn't happen. Terry and Ann Decker, it is the... thank you to them for opening up their home to us and letting us stay. I was trying to think, Airbnb. They're the best Airbnb we got here in Myrtle Beach, okay? Us personally now, they're not, you know, public. But, you know, and then Brent for the great facility.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Murphy's been doing a good job as a race announcer. Jason Rona, JC, the entire team putting on this series. It really emphasizes all of the indoor tracks in the nation because, you know, a lot of guys may not like 10th scale. They may not like indoor racing. But I'll say from a lot of us here in the Southeast where weather is always a factor, you know, beggars can't be choosers. If you want to race, you're going to find something to race, okay? I don't care if it's sailboats. I don't care if it's 8 scales, 5 scales, Barbie Jeeps, whatever. If you want to race, you know, and the weather's bad, beggars can't be choosers. You're going to find some place to race. But, you know, this hobby to me has a lot of chiefs and not enough Indians.
Right, right. Well,
to quote our president, all talk, no action.
Right,
all right.
Right.
So actions speak louder than words, and you know, I'm just loving doing toy car things with our toy car friends.
There you go.
That's what I love.
Pat, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you. And see you at the next one.
Always.